Okay, in this video I want to show you how to do patterns, and we've got a range of different patterns that we can do. So a pattern is where we create one feature and we duplicate it either over a linear direction or around an axis. So I'm just going to start on that top plane. I'm just going to sketch out a rectangle as my starting shape. X out of that. And I'm going to extrude that. Right, so I'm going to use a revolve for my pattern. So I'm going to click on that top surface, go to sketch, and I'm just going to sketch a simple revolve. Okay, so there's my circle. Here is my line that's my axis. I'm just going to trim that side back. Okay, go into features. I'm going to do it as Revolve Cut. So go to Revolve Cut, select my axes, and there we have it, and click the tick. Here we go. Okay, so what if I wanted, I don't know, a dozen of these in a line across this surface? Well, we can go to a linear pattern at the top here. If I click on that little drop down, there's loads of different options we can have. I'm going to show you 4 in this video. Linear pattern, circular pattern, curve pattern, and fill pattern. And they're all slightly different. So the first one I want to do is linear pattern. Linear pattern, as it states, is creating a pattern in a linear format, and it requires 2 directions. So our first direction, here, direction 1, we can click on this horizontal line, because that's the direction I want to go in. You see the little arrow turns up at the end to tell me which direction I'm going in. The second box that lights up asks me for a second direction. So this time I'm going to click the vertical edge there. So that's my second direction. And finally, it asks me which feature I would like to pattern. We want to pattern this Revolve Cut. The easiest way to do it is to expand our part menu and click Revolve Cut. Now you'll see here it's created our pattern. Up here we've got our spacing, so you can see it's put a 10mm spacing between each of the center points of our item, and then it's put a 10mm spacing between our center points down here. The number of instances is below, so you see I've got 5. I can increase that if I want, and I can increase or decrease on this side. Okay, so set those to whatever you like. That looks fine for me, and I'm going to click OK. And there we have our pattern which has been created. Okay, so I'm just going to flip over this block and show you how to create a circular pattern this time. Let's just see where my planes are. I'm just going to turn on my planes, because for a circular pattern what we need is an axis. So we're going to take a pattern, our feature, and we're going to revolve it around an axis. So, just in the way we make a plane, we can make an axis by going to Reference Geometry, Axes, and it asks us for a selection. We can select edges or lines, or we can select 2 planes, which is always quite helpful. So 2 planes, I'm going to select this plane, and you'll see it's creating an axis in the middle of those 2 planes that intersect. Click OK. I'm just going to go back into Sketch. I'm going to sketch a revolve just about here. Put a line through that. Trim that bit back. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go Features, again Revolve Cut. That's my revolve. My axis is there. Okay. So I just created a Revolve Cut near my axis. So for a circular pattern, it's really easy. Once we've got an axis and we've got our feature, we know where we want to go. Drop down menu on the linear pattern, go to circular pattern. The first thing it's asking for is our parameters. So what is our axis of revolution? So I can click on my axes. What are my features? Well, again, let's just expand our menu, go to Revolve Cut 2, and that is my feature. So you can see here, just like with a linear pattern, we've got our degrees, our angle, we've got our number of instances here, so we can set a number of instances at however many degrees. If we wanted, I don't know, 10 instances, and we didn't want to work out how many degrees that would be, we can always just do equal spacing and then around 360 degrees and set the number of instances we want. Once we're happy, click the tick, and there we go. There is our pattern, our circular pattern. Next one I want to show you is a pattern along a curve, and as it suggests, we need a curve or something to start with. So this time I'm going to go sketch on this plane here. Let's just do a spline. Sorry, there's a little bit of building noise in the background. Somewhere there. X out of that. And again, I want to create my feature. So I'm going to go on a new sketch. Remember, this has to be on a new sketch plane. So sketch on that surface. I'm just going to create it at the end of my spline. Trim entities, as always. There you go. That's the sketch. Let's make this a revolve. Adding material this time. There we go. Okay. So there is my new feature. And I want to pattern it along this curve. This curve can be anything. It could be an edge, or it could be a spline, whatever you want it to be. And this time I'm going to go to Pattern, Curve Driven Pattern. And it's going to ask me, just like a linear pattern, it's going to ask me for direction, but instead of wanting an edge, it's wanting that curve this time. So I'm going to click on that curve, that's my direction, I'm travelling along that curve. It asks for my feature, again, so I'm going to expand this and click the revolve. And you can see here that I can set then, up above here, the number of instances I want, and I can select the spacing. I can either define that spacing by a value, a numeric value, or again I can go equal spacing, and that will take that whole curve and it will equally space all of those features along it. Click the tick to accept. There we have it, that is going along a curve. So the final thing that I want to show you, I'm just going to roll this right the way back, is a fill pattern. So this time I'm just going to sketch a circle. We're going to look at how we fill that. Okay, so this was my part, and I wanted to put a fill pattern on this part and pattern all of my little dots across that surface. What I need to do first is I need to take the center point. So it's really important that we build things on the origin. So we've got our center point, our origin in the middle. What I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to create a sketch on that top surface, and this is just going to be a single line, and this is determining the direction. So we want to go from the middle to the outside edge. Okay, that's the direction that I want my pattern to go in. So whereas before we've always picked up a direction being an edge or a curved line or something like that, this one, although we're filling it, we're going to take this whole area, we're going to fill it, but we still need a direction, so we're going to go from the middle to the outside edge. Click to exit that. As always, we're going to go for a new sketch with a circle, and again I'm going to, on that plane, I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to draw it in the middle, because remember, that's our center point, this is our start point, and that's our end point, and we're going to be patterning going outwards. So create that circle, cut that one in half, and this time I'm going to do, what should I do? Let's do a cut, revolve cut, there. Okay, so I've created my revolve cut. Now we need to do, go to linear pattern, drop down. This time we're going to go to fill pattern, and it asks us firstly for the boundary. What's our outside boundary? We can click on that face. It then asks us down here for the pattern directions. This is why it's important to create that pattern direction initially. Click on that and click on that line, so we're going in that direction. What features are we patterning? Down here, as always, let's drop down and select our cut. And there we have, as you can see, it is patterning those features from that middle point to the outside edge in whatever layout we want. So you see here I can change my layout if I want to arrange them in different ways. I can change the spacing here, as you can see, between my different entities. However, that looks quite good for me, so I'm going to actually accept that. And there we have it. That is how we create a fill pattern, a linear pattern, a pattern on a curve, and a circular pattern. So 4 types of pattern that we can use under the pattern menu.